Who was Jimmy Conway? Why does his name send shivers down the spine of true crime enthusiasts? Was he born a criminal or molded by the harsh streets of New York? The cinematic portrayal of his life in Goodfellas paints a picture of a man deeply entrenched in the world of organized crime. But was this an accurate depiction of his life, or merely a romanticized version of a hardened criminal? Today we will delve into the life of James Burke, better known as Jimmy Conway, a notorious figure in the underworld of organized crime. We will explore his upbringing, his descent into crime, and his eventual downfall. Stay tuned as we unravel the enigma of Jimmy Conway and attempt to answer the question, who really was this infamous Goodfella? James Burke, a name whispered in hushed tones, etched forever in the annals of the underworld as Jimmy Conway. His life a stark contrast to the celluloid portrayal in the acclaimed movie Goodfellas. His story was not nurtured in the cozy Italian-American neighborhoods brandished in the film, but was birthed in the hostile labyrinth of New York City's Lower East Side. His unwritten code of conduct was not the romantic mob rule projected on the silver screen. Rather, it was a ruthless, unyielding drive for survival, a survivalist instinct honed in the harshest streets of New York. His destiny wasn't shaped by a criminal lineage, as the film implies, but by the iron hands of harsh reality. His mother, a robust Irish woman, labored ceaselessly to keep him on the straight and narrow. But the movie dismisses this struggle, drawn instead to the tantalizing allure of quick cash and the reverence commanded by local mobsters. The movie Goodfellas sketches a rapid, abrupt plunge into organized crime for Jimmy. Yet the reality of his transition was a slow, persistent, and reluctant immersion into the shadows. Jimmy Conway wasn't birthed into crime as the film suggests. Instead, the unforgiving streets of New York fashioned him, coerced him into becoming a figure of notoriety. Step into the shadowy realm of Jimmy Conway's existence, where he was ensnared by the sinister underworld of organized crime. Picture it. Unlike the glitz and glamour of his Goodfellas persona, he wasn't born within the mafia's clutches. He was irresistibly seduced by it. Visualize a young Conway, his criminal journey beginning with petty thefts and break-ins, only to escalate into more harrowing offences, a far cry from his immediate jump into high-stakes crime as portrayed in the cinematic saga. Imagine the moment when Conway first caught the eye of the formidable Lucchese crime family. Not an instant climb as depicted in the film, but a slow burn, fraught with danger at every turn. Picture his ruthless enforcement, audacious heists, a spectacle of brutality which made him indispensable to the family. A brutality that the film could only hint at. Then comes the notorious Lufthansa heist, an infamous chapter in Conway's life, a cinematic portrayal that resonated with its real-life counterpart. A grand spectacle of one of the largest cash thefts in American history, orchestrated masterfully by the real-life Conway. But there's more to Conway than the cloak of crime. The movie faithfully paints his relationships, bonds forged in the crucible of danger and shared ambition. Consider his partners in crime, fellow mobsters Tommy DeSimone and Henry Hill. The film vividly portrays Tommy as a ticking time bomb, and Henry, the grounded counterpart, revealing a mirror image of reality. Together, they were a potent cocktail of volatility, their actions creating ripples of influence. Yet, the cinematic depiction of their collective ambition, leading to their downfall, only scratches the surface of the intricate web of their real-life downfall. As they scaled the ominous heights of the underworld, a macabre trail of bodies marked their ascension, drawing the noose of law enforcement ever tighter. But let's hold that thought. Let's delve deeper into Goodfellas' depiction of this unhallowed trio. Conway, Tommy, and Henry, they were more than just criminals. They embodied a sinister underbelly of the American dream, a realm where ambition and ruthlessness cast long shadows over decency and law, and that's a narrative the film masterfully captures. Conway, Tommy, and Henry, an unholy trinity that orchestrated a symphony of chaos and destruction, both in the realm of reality and on the silver screen. Every story reaches its finale, underscored by a somber tune. Jimmy Conway, our protagonist, saw his curtain call not in a blaze of glory, but in a stark downfall, culminating in an inevitable, poignant end. Conway's tragic demise was a contrast so stark it could only be described as a chasm between his real-life predicament and his cinematic image in Goodfellas. As the gloaming of his reign of lawlessness encroached, Conway's world, stripped of the silver screen glamour, fractured and fell apart. His empire, a stronghold built on illicit endeavors, blood ties and unyielding ambition, crumbled into nothingness. His downfall, caused by the breaking camaraderie with Tommy and Henry in reality, was romanticized as the unyielding bond in Goodfellas that kept Conway's empire from collapsing. Their collective misdemeanors, the Achilles heel that crippled them in the real world, was spun into a badge of honor on the silver screen, a symbol of their invincibility. However, the unforgiving hand of justice, which they had artfully evaded for years, eventually seized them in reality. Conway was not the nimble fox he was depicted to be in Goodfellas, where he cunningly navigated the convoluted maze of the legal system. The courtroom held a grim future for him, trapped within the cold, unforgiving prison walls. Conway's freedom and empire in Goodfellas remained untouched, a stark contrast to the reality of his life. His last days were marred by remorse and regret, not by power and control. In stark contrast, Goodfellas portrayed him as a figure of authority, a man to be respected and feared. His death, a melancholic end to an era veiled in crime, bloodshed, and an insatiable thirst for control. His legacy, far from being one of admiration, was tainted with terror and notoriety. Yet in the fantastical panorama Goodfellas, his end was depicted as a graceful dance on a perilous tightrope, a daring spectacle tinged with audacity.